Yes, I know. More Christmas. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and this is my weekly vlog number 144 for December the 2nd, 2019. And I hope everybody had a good week. So, you saw at the beginning, I'm still making some Christmas things. I had some of my Christmas placemats, which I think I showed last week in my teaser. They're all quilted now and ready to go. And I've also been busy making some banners. Now, I made this one with the idea that this was going to go in my mother's room at the nursing home. She has a couple of double door wardrobe, and it would fit on there, although I'm wondering if it's a little too wide. Now, I didn't have a lot of time, and I had this panel, and that's what this is. And what I simply did was I layered it and I quilted it, just right on top of it. Very simple walking foot kind of quilting. Don't know if it's showing up here in the video. And the back was just with some plain, well, a little bit of a pattern, plain white fabric. And so yeah, that would look nice. But then I got playing with an applique program that I bought recently, and I'm going to talk about that when I do my product reviews. And I created these appliques, and I just went from there. I mounted them on squares, and then I had this other panel which I cut down and decided just to sew that all together. Very quick and easy project. I have quilted it. Again, I did some decorative stitching down the sides, which you probably can't see at all because it's too small, but along the seams. And then I just did wavy walking foot quilting on that. And again, I backed it the same as the other one. Now this one is a little bit more narrow, so I think that would fit on her wardrobe door a little better. So later today I have to go out and get some command hooks. And when I hang them, I do a very simple thing. You notice how these are hanging up with binder clips back here? Well, I have some very small binder clips that will blend in to the panel itself. And I just put command hooks up on her cupboard doors, and I clip the binder clips onto the quilt. That means I don't have to sew rings or anything like that in it and hang it up. Also, the advantage to that is the command hooks will stay, and if I make her another type of banner, say for the spring or something like that, it's easy just to swap them out if I hang them with the binder clips. That's what I'm doing with the ones on my front door of my house as well, which you will see later on in this video. Okay, so that I've been up to. I have 2 table runners that I have to layer and quilt yet, and then I have my Christmas presents for my hairdresser and the next door neighbor completed. And I'm so bloody sick of making Christmas themed projects. It feels like I've been working on them the whole year. I started them back, well, quite a ways back. I started them before Halloween, but finally I'm getting them done. And I would have shown you today ATC cards made by the ladies who take my once a month art journaling class, but for those of you that came on to Stephen and Walter Live yesterday, you know about this. We had a bit of an ice storm, combination snow ice storm here all day yesterday, and the roads were horrible. So we canceled the class because there's just no way I could have the ladies try and drive in something like that. It's not worth, it's not worth coming to a class if you're going to be white knuckle driving all the way there to it. So we have canceled the December class, and we'll just carry on in January with our next classes. So I didn't get any ATCs this month to show you. Next month, there'll probably be a double lot of them, so prepare yourself for that. Okay, and that's about all I've been working on. So let's move to the YouTube channel of the week, which is actually a series of playlists with Christmas music. This week's YouTube channel is not an actual channel, but a series of playlists. I don't know about you, but at this time of the year, I want to listen to some Christmas music. In fact, by the time Christmas comes, I'm so sick of Christmas music, I don't want to hear it anymore. And oftentimes, I'm not sure where to get a variety of Christmas music. I mean, I have my old CDs and my old DVDs, and of course, radio stations are playing Christmas music at this time of the year as well. But if you want a real variety of styles of Christmas music, look no further than YouTube. plug in Christmas playlists in the search engine of YouTube, and you're going to come up with a whole host of various traditional and modern Christmas carols. Some are done in the way we remember them as kids, and some of them have an upbeat turn to them using modern music. So, if you want a great variety of Christmas music this season, check out YouTube. So really, that's a good way to get your Christmas music for the season. There's quite a variety in different genres and styles. And what I like too are many of them have a slideshow that go with them. And usually what I do is on Christmas Day, I have those playing, and I have them on our plasma TV screen, which is quite large, in our rec room. And I just let it scroll through as it's playing the videos that come with the music, which I think is kind of a nice effect. It's either that, or I just throw up the, that video they have of a fireplace, although we already have a fireplace in our rec room. But anyways, whatever. It's there. It's not bad. It's free. What more can I say? So the link to that playlist is below. Link to my blog. There's a link to Stephen and Walter Live as well. And yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live, we continued our discussion with our viewers that are regular, getting to know them a little better. And in that video, someone suggested, well, I asked the question, what would you like to see in future live videos? One person suggested Happy Mail. And if you watched the Stephen and Walter Live rebroadcast, or if you were there at the time, you know my feelings about Happy Mail. I mean, yeah, it's exciting to get something from the mail, and the suggestion was that I open it live when we do, one of our live broadcasts, which is all fine and good. But there's a couple of issues I have with that. One issue is I'm not going to generally post for the general public my mailing address. I think that can cause problems. A good example of this is Mike Deacon. Mike Deacon had his published in his show notes, and he got broken into a year ago or so. There's a lot of nasty people out there, especially this time of the year at Christmas. That's when, you got to be really careful because, people figure there's lots of nice gifts under the tree, and they want to break into your house and take them all. So that's not really so good. And the other thing is, Happy Mail, traditionally, I've seen Happy Mail on other craft stations, and quite frankly, people are cleaning out their own stash and passing it on to people through Happy Mail, or they pick up little bits and pieces from their country that someone doesn't think they can get in their country, and they send them off. And that's all nice, but I have enough stuff, okay? I have a room full of stuff that needs to be sent out to Happy Mail or someplace else, donated. I don't need any more. So those are my two reasons for why I don't jump right on the idea. However, I did get thinking about it a little bit, and I've decided, and this goes for Stephen and Walter Live or for my vlog, if you want to send me something like Happy Mail, but something that is a little different, something you want me to kind of open up as I do my vlog or do the live, so I can share the experience with everybody else at the same time, then okay. But when I'm saying something that's a little different, I'm talking about maybe something that it represents the area you live in, or something that represents something about you, or about your hobbies or your interests, or something like that. Or just something gitchy, that you just think is cool, okay? I'm also aware of the fact that when you send things like this, it's going to cost you in postage, depending on where you are in the world. That can be very pricey. And to the actual item itself, unless it's something you already have and you're trying to get rid of, is going to cost you money too. And it's never my purpose on this station to get from you any form, any cost, basically. Yeah, this is free. Simple as that. I don't ask for money. I don't have Super Chat. I don't have Patreon. Yeah, this is free, okay? But if you think it would be of interest to other people, then send me an email. My email address is at the end of the vlog. stating that you might want to send me something, and I will send you through a private message my mailing address. Simple as that. And again, I'm not looking to get gifts. Okay, that's not my purpose here. My purpose is, if you think it's something other people would be interested in and it might be fun and add another level of interest to my vlog or to Stephen and Walter Live, then those are the kind of things that, you could send. I'm just going by suggestions that people gave me on our live yesterday. That's all. We'll see what happens. Okay, I have a feeling it's going to go the same route as persons of interest, which I have in the show notes all the time, but we haven't done a person of interest in over a year, maybe a year and a half, because nobody sent me anything. So be it. Okay, moving on in the list, I do have a link to the iCraft Invitation Scrapbook, the entire video. The last installment is in this vlog later today, but I have taken all 3 installments, put them all together as one video, so you don't have to go through my vlog to see the whole thing if you're interested in it. So I've put a link to that video below. And all the iCraft videos from the whole year that I've done this way, I have put in a playlist called iCraft Kits. I do have a bonus video for you today, and a link to it as well. And that's how to do the Christmas star ornament, which I believe I showed you last week. I was actually going to be teaching this at my art journal class yesterday, but since it was canceled, I think I'll probably teach it in January. It'll be well in advance for next Christmas. And of course, you could use these stars too, depending on how you design them, for other things as well. And I have the book of the week in there as well. So I think I've covered everything that's in the playlist. Just backing up for a minute about Stephen and Walter Live. We haven't done an art attack in a long time. Now, I'm not saying we're going to do one this coming Sunday, but I'm thinking about it. And Walter's kind of interested in learning how to make those stars that I was just talking about. So we might have a little star challenge. Maybe. Depends on how the week goes and how organized I am getting things together for this. But that might be what Stephen and Walter Live is going to be next Sunday. Okay, so what's pissing me off this week? All right. We've just had American Thanksgiving, which means officially in North America. I hate to say officially in North America, because why is it that everything in my country is affected by the Americans? But it is. So after their Thanksgiving, the official Christmas season begins, or the Christmas shopping rush. We have Black Friday, we have Cyber Monday, we've already had Black Friday week, post Black Friday week, everything's on sale supposedly, and people are now in a panic to get all those Christmas gifts. Christmas shopping sucks. I hate Christmas shopping. There are several reasons why I hate Christmas in general. Now you're going to say you hate Christmas and you're making all these kind of things and whatnot. Well, I can qualify that, and I may qualify that either on Stephen and Walter Live or on next week's vlog. I'll get into it in a little bit more detail why Christmas is just a lot of bah humbug as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I sound like a grumpy old man. Well, I am. And but one of the reasons why Christmas to me is bah humbug is this: Christmas shopping. In fact, it might be the biggest complaint I have about Christmas. Everybody talks about how Christmas has gone so commercial and blah, blah, blah. Yes, it has. And it has been that way for a long, long, long time. The problem with Christmas shopping is, well, there are many reasons why I hate Christmas shopping. One, I hate the crowds. Everybody suddenly comes out of the woodwork with their dog, and they're in every store. The lineups are tremendous. Everybody's grabbing everything they possibly can. It doesn't help that the stores put on these big sales, supposedly. And, really, think about it. Are you getting a deal? Really? The stuff they put on sale is stuff that people don't want, or they put these big sale signs, 60% off, 50% off. That just means they up their price by that amount, and so you're paying regular price for it. Maybe on occasion in some places you do get a deal, but for the most part, the whole idea behind putting up Christmas sales is to get you into the store, right? If you see sale, you think, I'm saving money. You might go in and overspend. And that's another reason why I hate Christmas shopping, because you always end up overspending. Now, there are lots of things out there where people say, make a list and stick to it. Have a budget in mind. Plan well ahead. Don't do it at the last minute because that's when you'll spend the most money. All of these tips and tricks. And guess what? We still overspend. Just something happens when we get in the store. We see the sale signs and you see it on this gitchy little thing that you're really cute for Aunt Martha. And you've got to have that. Wasn't on your list. It isn't in your budget, but it's on sale. And Aunt Martha's going to love it, maybe. 9 times out of 10, Aunt Martha doesn't give a crap about it. It's just another gitchy little thing she has to dust or whatever. But it's the impulse buy. Also, when you get into the stores, the decorations in the store, the Christmas music, get you all in the mood. They'll even put scent into the air, you know, that pine scent of a freshly cut Christmas tree or of warm fudge or Christmas baking. Yeah, you watch for that next time you go into some stores, especially the gitchy little stores that have, you know, scented candles and scented soaps and scented everything for Christmas kind of thing. Those smells draw you in and make you feel a certain amount of euphoria. So you're feeling a little bit happy. You're feeling good. You're feeling like you should give more. And when you want to give more, you're going to spend more. It's all a trick. Okay? So I hate the crowds. I hate being manipulated by these retailers to spend more money than I've got. Okay? Then there's the guilt. You come out of some of these stores and there's the Salvation Army or some other donation thing, you know, food bank, whatever, looking for your donations. Okay? Again, guilt. You're going in, you're spending all this money, you're buying gifts, the whole bit, the Christmas spirit, you're full of it. You're probably full of other things too. And you come out and so you give and you give generously. Okay? Now, it's not that I have anything against charities at this time of the year. Many of them, except the Salvation Army. And that might be next week's what I'm pissed off at. We'll save that. Note to self, talk about Salvation Army. Okay. Right. Let me get back on track. Many of the those charities out there, yes, they are good things. Okay? But at this time of the year, we are in that giving mood. And they know it. And so they're standing right there waiting to get more from you. So you've got the crowds. You've got the retail manipulation. You've got the charities digging into your pockets. Why else do I hate Christmas shopping? Because I never know what to buy anybody. Now, I don't buy that many gifts. Okay? My brother and sister are all my age, kind of a thing. They have grown-up children. What are you going to get them? Kind of a deal. We don't bother. Okay? I don't buy for the kids anymore because they're not kids. They're adults. What are you going to get them? And, you know, you can give them money, but it's not like, you know, $5. Not going to work for someone that's 25. Okay? And quite frankly, they can go out and earn their own bloody money. So, I don't give gifts. My mother, I might get something, but she's in a nursing home. What do you get her? So, you know, it usually comes down to some chocolate and some little gitchy thing. She has no place to store a gitchy thing, so it probably just comes down to chocolate. Simple as that. What do I buy Walter? I don't know. We're hard to buy for. Because when we need something, we just get it. Okay? And when we don't need something, we just go out and get it. So, we don't buy gifts. Simple as that. So, really, I've eliminated the problem of Christmas shopping for me by not giving any gifts. However, having said that, always you think about, well, wait, what if we get invited over to, say, to Walter's sister on Christmas Eve or something like that? I can't go empty-handed. Even though we don't buy our siblings anything, you feel like you can't go empty-handed. So usually get some wine, maybe some chocolate, something like that to take over. Sometimes there's like, I've got to give something to my hairdresser. I got to give something to my cleaning lady. I've got to give something to the staff that work at the nursing home that look after my mother. Again, chocolate is a wonderful gift. Okay. So I got to go out and get that kind of stuff. Well, guess what? I'm in the lineups again. For example, there's a great little chocolate shop that's owned by a family. They make the chocolates, and I love their chocolate. And every year at this time, I go down and I drop a lot of money in that store buying a lot of chocolate. I call it the Christmas chocolate. You never know who might be around. You may need a box of chocolates, okay? I do, if I'm going over to my sister's at Christmas time, and I think we are this year, I like to get chocolate Santas to put at everybody's place setting at the table. So I'm shopping. And of course, everybody else is shopping at the same time. And it doesn't matter what day of the week I go over there. I avoid the weekends. And being retired, it's easy to avoid the weekends. You can go whenever you want to go. It's still busy. Still busy. You've got to get your Christmas liquor. Okay? You got to have your wine and everything like that. Again, the liquor stores are lined up because everybody's getting their liquor, and they're not just buying 1 or 2 bottles, they're buying cases. So you've got that crowd. Parking. You go to park. Oh my word. There aren't any parking spots. There's a big, huge shopping mall on the west side of Toronto called Yorkdale Mall. There's no way. You don't go near that place at Christmas time if you can avoid it, because you're going to spend an hour looking for a parking spot. Oh, they've got a tricky little thing there too called valet parking. You pay for it. So you drive up to the front doors of the shopping plaza, and these guys take off with your car somewhere, and then you got to wait for them to bring it back. Okay, it saves you the problem of looking for parking spots, but you have to pay for it, and I don't think it's cheap. So, there you go. Another money grab at Christmas time by corporations and by retail. So overall, Christmas shopping, just say no. Okay, just say no. How do you get around Christmas shopping? Okay, Amazon. Yeah, really, online. If it's not Amazon, someplace else. Go online, buy your stuff. If it's Amazon, you know you're going to get it really quick, especially if you're a Prime member. This is not an advertisement for Amazon Prime. I just happen to be a Prime member, and I do love it. I mean, it costs me, but not a lot, like about $79 a year or something. I think it's worth it. But anyways, it's easy. Catalog's in front of you. Everything you've ever wanted is there. Bang. If you shop early enough, you will get everything way before Christmas, and you can get it wrapped under the tree. Bang. Done. A lot of people complain about online shopping because it's destroying, real stores, kind of a thing. Well, if real stores could make the shopping experience as convenient as Amazon, they'd stay in business. It's simple as that. I have yet to see Amazon on most things at this time of the year run out. You go to the store to get something and the last one just went out the door. That kind of thing. Now, I'm not saying that that can't happen, that Amazon may run out of something, but my experience has been usually what I've wanted, I've been able to get. So, online shopping, all those people who criticize it, then they're the people that love the crowds, love being manipulated, love overspending, all that kind of stuff. So, you choose. I just say no to Christmas shopping. Okay. So that takes us to the product review of the week. Now, this is not a product that I'm sure most of you will want, but I want to complain about it. Simple as that. So I debated on this. This is a kit to make these quilts, which are really kind of cute, done with appliques, okay? And I'm exploring the world of applique, trying to get the glare off this. It came with a CD-ROM, and on that CD-ROM were the files for creating these appliques. And this is the kit that I used to do these appliques. This was not cheap. I looked at it several times over a couple of days before I decided to buy it. And in some ways, it wasn't worth the effort to buy it, or the price. It was $52, okay, at my local sewing store. And I should have looked at the pictures on the front of this a little bit more carefully to realize that there's only about 6 designs. 5 of them are on here. 5 of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, there were 7 designs. And I've used 6 of them. and then they repeat. They're a little juvenile in their design, but I think they're supposed to be that way. And for the most part, this was not worth $52. Not at all. But I have it. Now, when I first did these appliques, I thought, I'm probably not going to do anything with them. But then I got this idea, and this is how it worked out. So I guess for $52, I was able to at least make that. And if I ever need those shapes for something else, I have them now. But this is just another example of sometimes how packaging, like that look cool, sucks you in, and away you go. Simple as that. So as a review for you people who are machine embroiderers, because these appliques are done in your sewing machine, kind of thing, beware of, read the fine print to see exactly what you're getting. I mean, if this was something you really want to make, this kind of quilt or something, yeah, sure, great, fine. But I can tell you, after doing it, not really that interested. So it was a little bit of a letdown. Okay, that's the only thing I've really bought in the last little while. All right, what's that take me to? Oh, book of the week. Okay. So if you're thinking of Christmas gifts for people and you want to give it the personal touch and you don't want to stand in lines in a store, then how about making books? This, from my stash, is a really good book. Handmade books and bindings. So it doesn't just show you how to make the books, but it shows you a variety of different ways of putting them together, the binding on them. I bought this book some time ago when I first got into doing book binding and things, and this was a great help. It talks about the tools, it talks about the techniques, and then it takes you through with pictures and explanation, and the explanations you can see are very detailed about what to do and how to do it. And they've got great ideas and different kinds of medium for creating journals and albums of things, like using leather, using vinyl, using paper, using cardboard, using all kinds of different products. Look at, and some of these are just wild. Like, look at that. Wouldn't that be cool to get? Give that to somebody. And yes, they take a little time to make, but they can be as elaborate as you want to make them. And they're fun. They're fun to make. They're really, this book isn't just a technique book. It's a book that shows you how to elevate your journal making, your album making, your book binding to an art form as well. Now, this book cost me at the time, and can I see a price on it? And I can not see a price on it anywhere. So I have no idea what I spent on this book or where I got it. However, I did look it up, and I looked it up on Amazon.ca. And on Amazon.ca, it retails at $36.92, so it's not a cheap book. But there was free shipping on it. Okay, so that's your trade-off. I've put a link in the show notes below if you're interested in getting this book or getting your hands on it. But it is a very good book. Pricey, but good. Okay, so that takes us to the iCraft Invitation Scrapbook that I've been working on over the last couple of weeks. I've got the last installment on here, and I'll show you how I decided to embellish it. So now I'm going to embellish this album, and I've pulled out of my stash a bunch of Christmas related pieces. I've got some tags, I've got some cards, I've got some wooden kind of, or cardstock kind of push outs or press outs, whatever you want to call them. And I've even got some slides. There's a blast from the past. And I'm just sort of in a Christmas mood, so I thought I might change this album into a sort of a Christmas album. Now, the background papers that I picked for this are not Christmas, but I think they're neutral enough that once I get various elements onto the pages, it'll look fine. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to sort through this pile, start putting it all together, and I'll be back when I have it done. So I have finished embellishing my album, and as I said, I was doing it as a Christmas theme. I didn't put a lot of thought into where the elements were going to go. I just looked at my stash, and whatever grabbed my attention, I stuck down. Now, one thing I found with this, and I have found this with a lot of the iCraft albums, they really are not big enough for a lot of 3D embellishments. And in this one, I tried to keep things pretty flat, but I did use a few 3D embellishments in it. And as you can see, this album is bowing. So the belly band that came with the kit is not going to work with this. So what I did was I found in my stash a piece of scrap red ribbon, and I simply glued it using Gorilla Glue. And throughout the embellishing process of this album, I use Gorilla Glue. It's my go-to glue now. It's not a cheap glue, and you don't get a lot in a bottle, but a little goes a long way, and it holds everything from wood, metal, paper, the whole bit, and dries fairly quickly. The only problem you have is sometimes you get it on your fingers and they start to stick to your elements, but it is a great glue for holding things down, especially things that are going to have a lot of wear and tear on them, like a ribbon. So I did glue the ribbon down onto the back of the album, and then just to give it extra reinforcement and to decorate the back, I added one of these card elements that were in my stash. Now, this will spring open. Warn you of that right now. So let's just undo the ribbon. And you can see on the cover pieces, and yes, they are bowing, but I think that gives a little bit of character. If you don't like that, then definitely don't use any 3D embellishments in the iCraft albums because they can't handle it. So in order to, since these closures, if this had been completely flat, would meet in the middle, and they don't now, I added this particular element. It is a heavy cardstock piece that you just punch out from a board of these. It came in one of the collections of Graphic 45's Christmas papers that I've had for quite a while, and I bought a deluxe set. So with the deluxe set, you'd often get one of these panels of almost like chipboard. Well, they are chipboard elements. So I just put that there to, bridge the gap, so to speak. Now, when you open it up, and as I said, it will spring open because this one is pretty full, you'll see that I put some elements from another embellishment pack. I think it was a Bo Bunny Christmas theme pack. I thought the deers were kind of cute and added those, but I'm also using them as tag holders. And I do this throughout my albums. I often use partially glued down pieces as sort of like clips. Like you can see here, there's a clip with these under this little tag embellishment, and your elements just tuck underneath that. I used quite a few of these throughout. They are smaller because the album's smaller, so getting a picture on them might be difficult, but what you could do is use them for journaling or for small ephemera, or you can just remove them completely and slip in a picture underneath this little clip. And I made the deer a clip as well, and the same on this side. So then when we open up these flaps, what I've added to this, and I did this throughout the album, is I allowed elements to overhang the edges of some of the pages. So you can see here's an example of this. These overlap. Now, I left these blank, and they came from, I think, a Heartfelt paper pack. And Heartfelt paper packs are great for making cards and things like this because they have all these cut apart elements that you can use. And I used some of my Christmas stash of elements that came from the dollar store, like these little silver stars and these little jewels. They're just cheapo things that came from the dollar store, but they work, I think, very effectively. So you open up these flaps, and you see you get this panoramic effect with all kinds of things layered. And I do like to layer in my albums, and that's why my albums get a little thick. So in here, again, I'm using some of these chipboard elements as clips. I had a tag in my stash that I dressed up that I made for some other project. This is another one of those cutouts from the paper pad, Graphic 45, and it just tucks under here. I just put a little glue around the edges and leave two of the edges free so I can tuck things in. Same here. And I did a similar thing on this side as well. Now you can see some of these I'm letting just pop up over the edge because I kind of like that effect when the album is closed. I just think it gives it a little bit of depth. And in the center part, I used a couple of these heartfelt cutouts that are meant to actually go on the front or in the inside portion of a card you might be making, but I use them here. I used a corner punch, a fancy corner punch, to cut these little, I don't know what you call them, embellished corners, I guess. And I did that throughout on a lot of the pieces just to dress it up, and I think it makes it look kind of Christmassy. Here's another example of using one of those chipboard elements as a clip, and I created basically a pocket by layering two of the cards together. I had to cut them down a little bit, and the pieces that I cut off I used in different spots, here and here and here. I didn't throw those away. I used the sentiment that was on it as an additional textural element. This was a plain tag I had laying around. It's plain on the back, so again, a small picture or some journaling or whatever, ephemera. And on the top there was one of these tab punch outs, which is on the chipboard. I just added to the top, and I'm letting these just peek over the edge, sort of like tabs. So we open up the pages a little further. And again, I'm doing that layering technique. I'm creating pockets out of some of the larger cards. I just cut them on the diagonal. And I went around most of the elements, although not all of them you can see that I have done this. I went over them with some oxide ink in a deep green and a deep red shade, just to add, again, a little bit of shadowing on it, which lifts the elements from the page. And here again, I made a corner pocket, slipped in one of these cards, and this is what I'm talking about with this special punch that I have. It makes these little, I don't know what you would call it, but it's kind of cute. And in this one's case, I just added a chipboard element and just added it as a little holding device for this. This could be a journaling card. A picture could go on the back, whatever the recipient of this might like. And I just sort of mirrored this page to this page. I used some slides way back a long time ago. They came out with all these blank slides, you know, the kind of thing that you used to put in a projector. And they're the frames, actually. And they made some for Christmas. I had a package of these laying in my stash. I haven't used these in a long time. That was one of those little trendy things that sort of came and went. And so I thought, well, this might be good use for them. Again, it just frames these chipboard elements, and it allows me to lift them a little bit and create that 3D effect, which basically is making my whole album bow. Here I had two pre-made tags that I had made at some point in time, and I thought, well, I might as well use them. And I added this little stamp. Again, this was in my stash. These were from other projects I had done, and these were probably the leftovers. Same with these little elements on there. So really, it didn't take me any time to create these for the album. I just stuck them down, and I put them on these little flaps as a little door. You open it up, and on the inside I have these two pre-made cards from Heartfelt, and this is the last page, and in here we have a couple more of the cards from that. This was actually a leftover from a sheet of paper. You can see what it looks like on the back, and it had some text on it. I just added one of my dollar store embellishments to it and tucked it in there as another element. So really, from start to finish in terms of the embellishing of this, once I had located my stash of elements, and again, I didn't spend a lot of time picking out particular ones. You could, that's up to you, but I wanted to do this pretty fast, get it done for the video, so you could see what this iCraft Invitation Scrapbook album might look like once it's finished. Now there's so much more that could be done here as well, as I'm sure you're aware. But as I said, I want to get it done quickly, and I did. It took me about an hour and a half to get all these elements down into the album. Now, that's where the Gorilla Glue comes in very, very handy, because it does dry very fast, and it grabs. You'll notice that I kind of put my bow here, what I'm making, I wrapped it around about 3 times instead of standard 2, because that just allows you not to have an extra finger, maybe. As I say that, I'm struggling for tying your bow. I am not the world's best bow tire, as you can
figure out here. So here we go. So there's my bow, such as it is. And I just leave the tails long on the album. So there we go. I have completed the Invitation Scrapbook album by iCraft, and I'm ready to move on to another iCraft kit.
So that takes us to the end of that series, and starting next week we're going to work on another iCraft kit, and this one's called Shadow Frames. So that we will start next week in the vlog. And as I've said, I have taken all 3 parts of the Invitation Scrapbook, put them all together as one video, and you'll find those in the iCraft kit playlist on my channel, and I've also have a link to that in the show notes. Okay, so that takes us to another bonus video this week, and I'm going to show you how to make the Christmas star from paper.
I thought I would show you how to make this Christmas star ornament. And this is really easy to make. You make it from your stash of supplies. All it takes is a couple of sheets of complimentary cardstock and some scoring and some embellishments that you can find, and it's easy as that. Now, I adapted this from another technique that does the same sort of thing using fabric. And I got thinking, well, if you can make it in fabric, why can't you make it in paper? So I did, with a couple of little minor tweaks to it. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So first of all, what you're going to need is a couple of sheets of 12 by 12 cardstock, and you're going to cut 2 different colors, and anything that looks Christmassy. It doesn't necessarily have to be Christmas paper. Double-sided doesn't hurt, but that doesn't really matter either. And cut your strips, 2 strips of each color, 4 inches by 12 inches. So really simple to put it in your paper trimmer and do that. And as I said, you need 2 strips in one color, 2 strips in the other color. Then you're going to do some scoring. Now, you can do scoring in a number of ways. I'm going to use my scoreboard for this. And I'm just going to get out my bone folder. And what you're going to do is you're going to score 3 lines on each strip and decide which side you want to appear on your star. So there's an inside and an outside sort of thing. This will become clear when we're done. So this is the side I want people to see. So I'm just going to flip it over, and I'm going to score it at the 1-inch mark. And be careful when you're using a scoreboard. You don't have to score really heavy. A second line at the 2-inch mark, and the last one at the 3-inch mark. And you're going to do that with all of your strips. So 1 inch. Now, the reason why I say don't press too hard is depending on the quality of the cardstock or the thickness of the cardstock that you have, you could rip it, and we don't want to do that. Now, this is the side I want to appear on my second color, so I'm just going to flip it over. And again, just lightly score. Better a couple of light strokes than one heavy one. So at the 1, 2, and 3-inch mark. Now, if you don't have a scoreboard, don't worry. You can simply do this with a bone folder or the edges of your scissors and a ruler. Just mark off 1 inch, 2 inch, and 3 inch, and away you go. Okay, that is done. So now what we're going to do with our strips, we're going to fold them along those score lines. And this is where you might want to have a bone folder handy, because it gives a nice crisp fold. And just fold along your score lines. And I see that, I think I've got that one off a little bit. I do. But not a problem, it's just paper. It bends. And first I'm scoring it at the, or I'm folding it at the middle score line. I think I got that off. Let me just check my lines. Yeah, I didn't score that heavy enough. So I'm just going to adjust, because this should be halfway. Now, you could, without scoring this, fold the paper, but I find scoring it gives you a nice crisper fold, and it's a little bit easier. And then you're going to fold it along the score lines that were at the 1 and 3 inch mark. So in a sense, you've got a trifold here. Now, fold that in half. So you're making a strip that is approximately 1 inch or 1.25 inches. I'm not sure. Let's measure it and see. Yeah, it's 1 inch. A 1 inch strip. Now, you don't want to do this with just a 1 inch strip of paper because it'll be too flimsy. So, open it back up, and on one side, just down the center, put a strip of glue. Now, this could be wet glue. I find it's easier to use a tape runner, or you could use double-sided tape. Whatever you have on hand will work. Again, I'm having a little trouble with this one because I didn't score it well enough, so my folding is a little off, and I want to keep it pretty even. So I'm going to make the paper obey me. Yes! Might have to be a little brutal. Okay, then take that strip and just fold it in half. I find putting the bone folder in that fold makes it easy, and just flatten it out using your bone folder. Now that's what I'm going to do to all of these pieces, and I'll be back when I have it completed. Okay, so you have your 4 strips folded now, and you have them folded in half. Now we're going to weave them together. So what you do is you take one of your colored strips, and we're going to call this part the open part, and we're going to call the fold the closed part. And so we're going to turn the open part so it's at the top of the one green strip, and on this strip we're going to have the closed part, the fold, at the top here. So we have opened and opened, fold and fold. Now we're going to take one of our red strips, and we're going to take the folded edge, and we're going to place the 2 parts of the green one inside that fold, and then the open end of that red strip is going to go in between the other part. Now this is where you're going to have to hold things down with your hands, because if your cardstock is as stiff as mine, it's going to spring open. So this is what we have so far. So we're going to take the last strip, and with the closed part to the left, which is the fold, we're going to take that and we're going to slip the green strip underneath, and then in between the 2 gray strips. I'm having trouble getting these apart because my fingers are not cooperating. Okay, let's open up here. Oh, sorry, that is the closed end. So you just have to get this part pried apart and slip these 2 tails into the inside of this. Okay, I made that look more difficult than it really should be. So now we're just going to adjust it so that the folded ends snug up against each of the strips, and this essentially is going to lock it down. So we just adjust it and pull everything up to the fold, and you want to pull it fairly firmly but not warp your paper, so you get this nice checkerboard center. Okay, now you're going to flip this over, take your top strip, fold it down, take the left strip, fold it over. Now you're only using one half of the strip, and you're going around in a counterclockwise direction. When you come to the last strip, you're going to tuck it inside of this one. And this is what's going to lock it. Now this is a little tricky. You might want to use your bone folder on this just to get it opened up a little bit so you have room to stick the other strip through. And then adjust everything by pulling everything tight. Now, yes, you're going to have strips that are uneven, and that is okay. So give it a good tug to get everything in there snug, because you're not using any glue on this. This is what's holding it together. And then just flip it over and make sure everything is snug on this side. And what I like to do after I've done this part is just simply take my bone folder and just give it a crease all over. Just helps to keep everything very snug. If you don't have a bone folder, the edge of your scissors will work as well. Okay, so this is what it looks like at the moment. Actually, that could kind of make a nice little thing for another project, but that's not where we're stopping. Okay, you're going to take one of the strips that's hanging out, and you're just going to fold it diagonally so it lines up, you see here, with the edge. Hope you can see that, the edge of that little square. And we're going to use our bone folder just to press down on this, because we're making a crease. And we want to be able to see that crease. Now we're going to take our scissors, we're going to open that fold up, and you should be able to see a crease right inside there. And for the sake of the video, I'm just going to take a pen or marker, and I'm just going to mark inside of that. Hope you can see that. So I've got a diagonal line right here, and that's the line I'm going to cut on. And I'm just going to use my scissors, and I'm going to cut that part that we marked with the line off. So there we have our first point of a star. So we're going to turn it counterclockwise to the next shorter piece, and we're going to do the same thing. Fold it over, give it a good crease so you'll be able to see the line. And I'm not going to mark it with my pen, I just did that to show you. And I just get my scissors in there, and there's my next point. Let's do it one more time. Fold it diagonally so that it snugs up to that square. I'll move my hand out of the way here in just a second. I'm giving it a good press so I can see the crease. So I've got something that looks like that. Well, not something, it does look like that. Open it up, and along that creased line, I'm just going to trim it. And let's do this one more time. I want to make sure you can see exactly how to do this. And there we have 4 of our points. Now all we have to do is just flip it over, and we're going to do the same thing with the longer pieces. And it doesn't matter whether you start with the longer pieces or the shorter pieces, it'll all work out the same. So we've made our crease line, and I'm just trimming it. And one more time. And then I'm going to turn the video off, and I'm going to show you what to do next. So I've got my crease line, snip, and so you see how we're going here. So I have 2 more to do. I'll do those, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I have my star formed right now, and it looks just like that on both sides. You don't have to worry about these points opening up because we put a glue strip down the center of that, and that will keep that secured. But what I want to do is just add a little dimension to this, so I'm just going to grab some ink and an ink applicator, and I'm just going to go all the way around the points with this to give it sort of a shadow effect. You can use any color that you want. I grabbed the first thing that was close at hand, which was Distress Oxide, and it was the fired brick red color. It's going to depend on what color your paper is and how much you want this to show up. I just want to get rid of the white edges and just give it a little bit of a shadow effect, and I'm doing it on both sides because this might twirl around if you're using it as a Christmas decoration. So you want both sides to look nice. Now, one thing you could do with these, you could make them into little toppers for Christmas presents. Or you could put this in as a card, an embellishment on the outside of a card. That would look very nice. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just going over the folded edges lightly. Again, I'm just giving the whole thing a little bit of a distressed look with the ink. It's totally up to you. It's your personal preference. Okay, what I'm going to do next is I grabbed myself some twine, and this is actually waxed thread, but you can use whatever you've got, and a large darning needle with a big eye for this because I have trouble threading things, and my pokey tool. And what I want to do is create a string so I can hang this from a tree branch on my Christmas tree. Now, if you're going to put it on top of a Christmas present, you might not want to do this. And you can basically put this hole wherever you want. You could put it here, and so your star would hang like that. I'm just going to do it right here in between these two folds. And I'm just going to very carefully make sure I'm not too close to the edge, but just enough so there'd be support. And I'm just twisting my pokey tool, or an awl, through this, making a hole big enough to accept my thread. So I have my hole here. And I'm just going to take a length of this, if I can find the end of it, and I can't. And as I said, it doesn't have to be waxed thread. Let me grab another spool. Here, this one I can see the end better. And I'm just taking off about, I like to give a generous amount so I can tie a knot in it, so maybe about 16 inches approximately. And I'm taking my darning needle. And again, the way you thread this is totally up to you. It'll depend on what you're using, but because I'm using a fairly thick twine, I'm using a large holed needle, and I'm just going to slip that through the hole. Oops. Take my needle off, and I'm just going to tie a very simple knot in the end of it, and this will give me something to hang this ornament on the tree from. And again, you could adjust this to whatever length you like. I'm just going to trim my tails. And so essentially there we have the ornament made. Now it's time to dress it up. So I'll be back in a second. So I embellished my star with a piece of old jewelry. I collect old jewelry bits, costume jewelry kind of thing, but you could put anything in the center that you like. And just for a little fun, I had this little elephant that came off a piece of cheap jewelry as well. So I just thought that makes it a very interesting looking little element. And to give it a little sparkle, if you can see in the light on the tips, I just went over it with a wink of Stella, which is basically a glitter brush of color, or you could use iridescent medium, or you could just actually use glitter, or whatever you like. You can dress these up in any number of ways. And so you can see here are my two stars ready to go. I think they look really nice. Lots of variety here in what kind of paper you use and what kind of embellishments you use on them as well. So I hope you enjoyed this short little tutorial on how to make Christmas decorations.
So, events in the past week. Well, we had our annual care conference for my mother at the nursing home. They do this once a year with you to go over her progress and what she's been doing and what she hasn't been doing and any concerns that the family might have for discussion. It was pretty straightforward. I was surprised by a couple of things. One of those was that they said since my mother's been in there, they felt that her health had improved. And I think that's really good. And yes, it probably should have, because now she's getting the proper nutrition. As I've told you a long time ago, we did not realize that my mother was basically living off of Ensure and chocolate. Not good. when she was in the apartment on her own. So I was happy to hear that. She does complain about the meals, but as you know, my mother's only happy when she complains. So, that's good. Also, I was surprised, according to the people in this conference, my mother's been fairly active in the activities that they have at the home, which she never tells me about these. I know what the activities are. I go over them every month with her. They send me a calendar of events for the month, and I go over all these and I highlight ones that I think she might want to try or be interested in, but she never tells me that she has. But apparently she is participating, and that's good as well. Every time I go over there, she's there sitting in front of her TV set staring at it. So, I was happy to hear that. So yeah, she's doing okay. We didn't have any major concerns. They didn't seem to have any major concerns. So all's good there. Other things this week, Walter finally bought and brought home an embroidery machine for himself. Now, it's not as elaborate as mine. This is a dedicated embroidery machine, which means it doesn't sew, it just does embroidery. And he's been playing with it. And we discussed yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live that he did have a little problem at the very beginning. It was minor. We did have to take it back to the store, though, and have a minor little 5-minute adjustment done to it, and all's well with it. So when he starts making some projects and doing things on them, I'll be sure to share them with you. And of course, Saturday I got the Christmas decorations up. Traditionally, I always put the Christmas decorations up the first Saturday of the month. Well, that was technically November the 30th on Saturday, but close enough. Do I enjoy putting up the Christmas decorations? Not really. I like it once they're up, okay? I don't put up a lot, and I am going to go around the house and do a little video for maybe next week's vlog and show you what I did put up. Don't get too excited because it's not that exciting, okay? I used to decorate everything crazy like. But as the years have gone by, I've gone more minimalist. Even our Christmas tree shrunk down. We don't have any place to put a big Christmas tree anymore. And to be honest, it would take me all day to get that sucker up. Now I've got a little tree. It doesn't take me all day. It takes me about half an hour. And that's just fine with me. So maybe next week I'll have a little quickie video show to show you what's going on. But I did take a little short video to show you my Christmas banners that I made that are hanging on the front doors of our house. And I'm going to insert that right here.
So these are my front doors, and these are the two banners that you've seen before, but this is what they look like hanging on the door right now. Try to get a glare off of here, but I'm not doing very well. Anyways, I think I will be adding a Christmas wreath on one of these doors, probably, once I dig out my Christmas decorations. But I think these turned out pretty nice, and they look pretty good. I'm just going to back up here so you get the full effect of our front doors to our house. And there they are. It's not looking very much like Christmas right now, though, as you can see. From a couple of weeks ago, we had a lot of snow, but it's all melted. It's now kind of rainy, drizzly, typical end of November weather here in southern Ontario. So yeah, I think these turned out pretty good. And just another little close-up, and there we are.
So what's coming up in the next week? Not a heck of a lot. I have a sewing class later today. It's my second last one of the mystery quilt, or as I like to call it, the misery quilt. And nothing else really this week. Next week, next Monday night, there's our guild meeting, and it's our annual Christmas potluck dinner, which we decided this year is just going to be finger food, appies, kind of a thing. So that's not until next Monday, so I will see you before then again, so I'll probably mention that again. And yeah, we don't have anything else really planned over the next week, beyond the usual kind of things that one does during their week. So with that, I think I'll say goodbye. Hope you have a good week. I hope you're able to join us for Stephen and Walter Live this coming Sunday, which may or may not be an Art Attack version. We'll see. And yeah, don't get caught up in the Christmas shopping crowds. Or if you do, stay positive, I guess. Okay, that's enough. See you later. Bye-bye.